The NFL isn't ready for the Chiefs' passing attack, and if they say they are, they're freaking lying about it. Let's talk about that, Mike.
You're listening to All Chiefed Up.
Good evening, Chiefs Kingdom. How we doing, baby? Welcome in, welcome in. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the Kansas City Chiefs. So if you guys like those people, you might want to hang out and talk about them with us. It's the dead of the off season. We got a little gap between OTAs and camp, so it's going to be a little dead. But we're just going to have some fun and talk about the Chiefs. If you want to hang out and talk with us, please do so. Do us a favor, hit the like button if you don't care. It gives it out to more people. It'll help us out a little bit. And Mike, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the Chiefs and their passing game. That's been the focal point. It was last offseason, and it's been the same thing this offseason. They want to get back to a deep strike passing attack, something where they can score quick and do damage fast. And I think they have all the pieces in place to do so. Now Andy Reid's trying to get Patrick Mahomes to force the ball down the field, and we'll see how it goes, man. I really think he's just got to get back in that mindset of let it rip, man. He can't be pump faking and second guessing himself.
Yeah, he can't be doing all that. I think they're going to get back onto it. We've seen so far in OTAs, be it voluntary or mandatory, Steve, we're seeing that same push from the coaching staff, Andy Reid in general, where he was telling Patrick last year, look, you got to force the ball down the field. And what was the big thing he had last year? He had that true number one last year with Hollywood Brown. I believe Hollywood Brown's a true number one in this league. He may not be top tier true number one. Like, he's not going to be like CeeDee Lamb. Don't get me wrong. He's probably not that level of a number one. But he's right there at the back end of it. I believe he's got those abilities. And now Rashee Rice has turned himself into basically a wide receiver one in this league, in my opinion. Yes, so he has, but they both had an injury last year. And Hollywood, big time. Hollywood was the one that was going to open up the offense for Andy Reid, and that's why they were trying to push the ball theory down the field. And then that injury came, and they kind of had to adjust. So with all them being healthy here, I believe that you're going to see more and more of it. And we've already seen Xavier Worthy break out a little bit last year. He looked a lot better than anybody thought he was going to look last year, I believe.
Yeah. He surprised me.
So, yeah, exactly. And so for me, I think that he's now got – look, I think that trio is literally legit one of the best trios in the NFL. I don't care what you think. You can hate the Chiefs all you want, but that trio is pretty legit when they're all healthy. And Patrick Mahomes hasn't got to play with all three of them guys yet healthy. And so I think you're going to see a lot different passing attack this season.
Yeah, it's going to be insane, man. And not to mention, you mentioned that trio, but you're looking at also Jalen Royals, who they drafted, who offers a lot of good stuff, man. We don't know what he's going to be able to do yet. We don't know the production that he'll have. We don't know the opportunities he'll get. But we do know what he's capable of and what he can do.
Right.
So if you add him into the mix, if he pans out halfway through this season like Xavier Worthy did, and also Rashee Rice his rookie season, just give him a little bit of time to get his feet settled and get up to speed in the NFL and see if he can do the things that they've done the last couple of years, because it worked out for them. And then, of course, you have other guys on this roster too. Of course, Juju's not explosive, but he's that experienced guy that can move the chains for you, so that's good to have. Plus, not to mention, dude, all this is going to help Travis Kelce get back to the Travis Kelce of old. I think last year, people kind of think he's taking a huge step back. Oh, he got old like overnight, over the one off season. It's over for him. I don't think that's necessarily true. I think that Kelce is still Kelce to some degree. Has he lost like a part of a step or something? Possibly. I mean, he's getting older, but I don't think
he's lost some weight. Not 25 pounds. You were right on that.
I knew it. I knew he was sitting at home when everybody kept saying that.
So yeah. he probably felt a little fat shamed that he hadn't lost 25 pounds.
That's what I was saying.
Right. So we're dealing with Kelce Light right now. He's like the light version of himself, as in a little bit caloric deficit right there. And so, but I'm with you. I do think, look, he maybe hasn't lost everything. I don't think Kelce's just coming out and he's a bum. If you listen to all the haters, Kelce's horrible. He's washed. The Chiefs are washed. Mahomes is washed. Everybody's washed. They're haters. The thing about it is, Kelce may have lost a step, and he's not going to be Kelce from 3-4 years ago, but Kelce's still effective. And I think you're going to see a lot better, and he's going to play with a lot more passion and fire this year. And I believe that was what he lost last year.
I think that he's got a renewed, has refocused completely. I think
Did you say nude? I would like to see.
A
I wouldn't like to
renewed
see that
focus.
actually.
A renewed focus. Not nude, Michael. Get your mind out of the gutter. No, but I think he's more focused on football, and I think we'll see that. I think we'll see that this year because he had a lot of distractions. There were a ton of distractions last year, and I think he kind of fell victim to some of that. I mean, honestly.
Yeah, I mean,
and I think this year he's going to be a little bit more focused.
you see it, man. Right here in this comment between Swift and the New Heights podcast, Kelce didn't have time to focus on football, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean,
All
honestly,
that's still
who
going
would?
right now, though. It's all
Yeah,
going
but,
like
you know,
nothing's happened.
The longer that goes on, and the less new it is, when the shine wears off of some of that stuff, like him and Taylor Swift being together, I think it makes it easier to manage. Because
You're
this is
saying
all
once
new.
the newlywed couple and they're just all googly over each other. You're saying now she's like, Travis, go golfing with your friends. Get out of the house for a minute.
No, I just think it's like it's not a new thing, right? It's not new for the general public. It's not like a main front page story on everything that you look at. It's now we've known this for over a year, so I think everybody can calm their tits a little bit about it, right?
Do you
That's
think,
what I
though,
would think.
Do you still think? I mean, Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift, every game she appears to, she's going to be a front page story no matter what. That's never stopping. in my
Agreed,
opinion.
but it's not going to be as like crazy as it was, and I think
The
also
public
it's,
is desensitized, is what you're trying to say.
of course. And then on top of that, those two together now know how to manage that better than they did a year and a half ago. And then
Yeah.
he can regain his focus on football. I think he's starting to realize, there's a lot of things outside of football that he can do, but football's what got him to where he's at. So, I mean, if he's going to be there, I think he needs to put in 110%. I think he's kind of realized that, and I kind of get that from what he was saying at his presser and things like that. So, I really think you could see a whole different Travis Kelce than you saw last year, and especially with these wide receivers. And here's the thing. I wanted to talk about the passing attack, but to be quite honest about it, man, we have great receivers. I think if you go look up all the statistics, if you go look up all the metrics or like 40-yard dashes, whatever, however you want to look at
Right.
this stuff, I think the Chiefs have either the fastest wide receiver core in football or the second fastest wide receiver core in football. And the only reason I say that is because of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. And then, of course, they might have a couple other guys. I think they just drafted Ty Felton, who runs a 4.3. So, I mean, are they the ones that got him? So, I mean, Miami, did they get Felton? But
I'm not for sure.
either way, they got a lot of fast guys on that team. Devon Achane, obviously not a receiver, but he can't catch the ball in the backfield, so
he
he
can
does.
fly.
So, yeah, man, I think that they have probably the fastest, in my opinion. I honestly think they're faster.
Steve, you
And-
can have Jerry Rice, you can have Larry Fitzgerald, and
It's
you
all
can
about Mahomes, bro.
Well, it goes further than Mahomes. Let's put the third receiver. I don't know who the third receiver. Who's the best receiver that's ever played? I don't know. Let's put
Go
Randy Moss in there.
Moss.
Just
Yeah,
somebody
let's
like
go
that.
Randy Moss.
Take those three. It doesn't
Megatron.
matter as long as if you're subbing Mo, Larry, and Curly as your left tackle every other year, like Mahomes is doing.
Right.
It
Well,
doesn't matter. It starts with this offensive line, Steve, and this is where this camp battle for left tackle, and I'll go ahead and throw left guard in there as well. Kingsley needs to flat out beat Caliendo. And if you can't beat Caliendo, like, I'm not saying Caliendo's bad. I think he's serviceable. I think he's decent. Caliendo's not a top tier left guard. Like, he's not
Of course.
Pro Bowl ready. and
He's the guy
shouldn't
that
be.
you have to fall back on in a pinch, like we did.
Right. And if Kingsley cannot beat him, you're in trouble a little bit here going into the season. I don't care how good our receivers are and what this passing attack looks like. If there's a left tackle not stepping up and a left guard that doesn't step up and win 97, 98% of their reps, we're going to be back in the same situation next year being like, well, who did we draft and how are they going to compete in camp? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, I think, like I was saying, though, I still think it kind of falls back on Patrick Mahomes regardless, because you know he'll get a feel for what he's working with as far as the offensive line as the season goes on. Last season, he knew that he had issues over on the left side of the line, right? He did in the Super Bowl. It was obvious. But at the same time, he wasn't doing anything to adjust. And I think this is where he's going to have to kind of overcome things like that. Either way, if you got all those receivers and they can all stay healthy, if they can, avoid the injury bug this year, he's got all kinds of weapons on the football field. So he's just got to get back to himself, throwing the ball around, making good throws, throwing in tight windows. It's something that he doesn't like to do, but you're going to have to do that sometimes. I just think you got to trust your guys. And I think that's really the name of the game here. It's like, literally, man, just get out of your head a little bit and get back to just playing that backyard football that made you so great.
Yeah, I totally agree. He's got to get back to it. He's got to stop overthinking himself. I think he needs to. We've had this conversation time and time again. I mean, it gets a little old. I hate being somebody that critiques Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is like the greatest. He is our generation's. He's just the greatest, man. Yes, you can make an argument for Brady, make an argument for Montana. I would say Montana's not really our generation. There might be some guys in the chat. Montana's their generation.
Yeah.
But for me and you, Steve, we're early 40s. I don't consider Montana. He come in.
We watched
or
him
he
when
was
we were young,
ending
right?
when we were,
Yeah.
before we were teenagers. It would be Brady for the majority of our 20s, or late 20s, 30s. And Mahomes has been the guy to beat over the past 6 years, 7 years, since he's been in this league. Since year one, he is the cream of the crop. But that's the thing. So I feel dumb trying to critique this guy, but I'm not saying nothing that he's not said himself out of his own lips.
It's not really critiquing him. It's just kind of pointing out the obvious, right?
Yes, he has to start going out on the field, having that belief that he is the greatest, I can do what I want. And he had that no fear when he come in this league. Right. He brought a no fear mentality. He was a running, gunning, slinging. He was a fool out there half the time, throwing across his body. It didn't matter. He had that belief. He trusted that somebody would go make a play, and he's lost a little bit of that. And probably, to be honest, he's rightfully so to have lost some of that trust, because Veach has had trouble getting this wide receiver room together. They've had trouble getting this line together for a long period of time.
Right.
They've got to get this fixed for Mahomes, and then Mahomes has to get back in that headspace.
Just to touch on a couple things you said real quick, and then I want to get to the chat. But I think where that line is drawn for me is Patrick Mahomes is a generational talent that changed the game of football. Like, the way he plays quarterback changed the entire landscape of how guys play quarterback now. Tom Brady didn't do that. Tom Brady won a lot of Super Bowls. He won a lot of games. But he was just your typical run-of-the-mill quarterback, and he just did a little bit better than everybody else. Patrick Mahomes changed the entire game. If you look at every other quarterback in the league, they all mimic themselves after Patrick Mahomes now. Caleb Williams, Cam Ward, all these young guys are coming out. Oh, it's the next Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, like,
right?
what do you think? What's the thing that Tom Brady did? Like, what made Tom Brady so special besides just winning and figuring out how to win? But he didn't do anything like you said, he didn't transform the game or the position with a physical attribute. It was basically just all his mind and just the way he was composed.
I mean, there's that. There's the tuck rule. You know, there's Deflate Gate, there's Spy Gate. There's lots of things that helped Tom Brady get to where he was, right? So, yeah, but anyway, we'll go ahead and get to the chat. Greg Goodwin, our boy in the house with the 5 bomb, says, sorry, guys, that I haven't donated lately. Been working harder than a fat stripper, LOL. Not a big deal, man, but we appreciate the support, brother. Hope you're doing well. Don't work too hard, man. It's hot.
Greg, don't be discriminating on the fat strippers.
They probably make good money too, you know?
They got to make a living, man. It's tough out here. It's a bad economy.
Yeah, speaking of, though, we've hit this ridiculous heat wave in Kentucky. It's brutal. I don't know about you guys.
Steve, it was nothing but rain, and the first day of summer,
dude,
God got the memo.
Degrees.
He said, give it to him. It's summertime, baby. Let's go. Steve, it was clocking at 1:03 is what it felt like today at 6 p.m.
Yeah,
like,
and then not to mention the humidity here just makes it that much worse, bro. That much worse. But yeah, I did see in the chat. Let me get through here. It's hard for me to get through all this, but I saw somewhere it's someone's birthday, Mike, and I think you needed to do a little something.
What do you got
for their birthday? Who was it? It's Jay-Z the White's birthday. Yeah, so yeah, we're having a live on your birthday, brother. Happy birthday.
Feliz Navidad.
There we go.
That's all you get.
It's been a minute,
man. I throw out the Feliz Navidad in honor of Doc, my boy.
Pepe says, is this the year that Sky gets the This Is Sparta treatment? I don't know, man.
I wouldn't be surprised, and
we're not going to spend too much time on that because we've talked about that so much, and then like even on our last couple of videos, we got the opinion of Garrick Dieter, we got the opinion of Price Carter. We've heard almost every angle you can look at that, and to be quite honest about it, and this is being dead serious, I still think it's a coin flip. Like it could go either way easily.
It's 50-50. It
Yeah,
really
because
is. There's no other way to look at it.
Yeah, we're talking about the wide receivers, right? We're talking about the passing attack. Looking at the wide receivers, I think who is that sixth wide receiver is probably the most intriguing thing out of all the camp battles. And that's counting left tackle, because left tackle, you know, it's going to be Jalen Moore or Josh Simmons. It's going to be cool to see who wins that spot and how that goes. The same with left guard. Is Kingsley going to win that outright and then be good? Yeah, that's interesting. Cornerback's interesting. But I think it's really mind-boggling. Who is going to be that sixth wide receiver? Because we know the top 5 are pretty much locks. And then that sixth spot is just wide open, and there's so many guys. And could it be Sky Moore just because he's been here, he's comfortable, he knows the playbook, the guys like him? Could they go that route, like the comfortability there? Or do they go with a newcomer like Tyquan Thornton? They got him as a practice squad player last year at the end of last season. A lot of the guys have been talking him up. But you can't forget about Nico Remigio, who brings you the return ability. You can't forget about guys like Elijah Badger, Jason Brownlee, Mac Delana. There are so many dudes that have an opportunity of getting this spot. It's very, very intriguing. I want to see how it turns out. I didn't even mention Justin Ross, and I didn't for a reason, because I don't like talking about Justin Ross in the offseason anymore. I just feel like it's just a waste. We don't do that.
A lot of people, we've heard tons of comments, Steve, people saying, quit talking about Justin Ross. Like, it's done. His time's done. Look, it's deep. Justin Ross has made this team a few times. Once, maybe. He may have outright made it once. I'm not for sure. Like, I get it. It's somebody told us last time, they left a comment, why do you guys spend so much time talking about wide receiver 6 or Carson Steele and who's going to be running back 4 or 5? Those guys don't matter. It don't matter. Steve, you're only as good as your weakest link. And those guys do matter. To say those guys don't matter is out of control, because I'm telling you right now, one of those guys will have to step up and make a play before the season's over with.
Of course, man.
Be it on special teams or whatever.
A lot of how good you are in the playoffs is all by, medical attrition, right? Like, who didn't have the most guys drop out? Because every time we get to the playoffs, I think Price mentioned this on the video we did with him the other day.
Yeah, he did.
Every time we get to the playoffs, we play a lot of teams that sometimes are depleted. And
the Texans last year, man, they were decimated.
Right, and the Chiefs, we had our share of the injury bug last season, but we do a good job of having really good depth, and we also have a good medical staff. So, I mean, usually the Chiefs have the upper hand when it comes to health. Like, that's something that I've noticed over this entire dynasty run. Like, we always have been pretty good and are pretty much on the upside of the health aspect. Last season was probably the worst that we've had, for sure. It was like our luck ran out, right?
Yeah.
It's like, man, we've gone so long and it had minimal injuries, but then all of a sudden it was like boom, boom, boom. People were going left and right, and I think it was a little bit different. And for the team to still be able to adjust to that, go 15-2, and get to the Super Bowl again is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, Steve, like you just said, it's all about injuries. It's all about everything. But you've got to talk about these camp battles. Like I said, you got to talk about wide receiver 6. You just have to. You have to speak about that, because those are all going to.
Why wouldn't you want to? What else are you talking about right now?
All those kind of guys are also going to influence who makes, like, how many linemen are going to be. You know what I mean? How many linemen they take, how many corners they take. This is all influenced by, like, is there a guy good enough on the wide receivers that Andy just wants to take 7 again?
What's more exciting in June? Is it who's going to be on the back end of the roster because you don't know? Or is it, man, Rashee Rice is going to be a good receiver? Well, we freaking know that. As long as he can stay healthy, he's going to be a beast. We saw what he could do last season in small
Steve, talking about the Chiefs wide receiver 6 or possible wide receiver 7 is more fun to talk about than anything going on in sports. I'd rather talk about that than Game 7 of the NBA Finals.
That's what I was going to say. It's Game 7 of the NBA Finals right now, and I could not give a shit less.
Yeah, I could care less. I don't care. The NBA is a bum league.
It's so bad.
It's horrible.
It's bad.
Steve, it's bad. Kevin Durant gets traded today for the 15th time in his career.
Who cares?
Exactly. Who cares?
Our boy Kyle in the house with the 5 gifted memberships. Let's freaking go, Kyle. Hope you're doing good, buddy. Hope everything's going well for you down there in Tennessee land.
You hear it, Steve? The train.
I heard that train. If you guys get one of those memberships, make sure to thank him in the chat. Also, throw some legendaries out there for the man. Why not? Yeah, I saw where Halliburton tore his Achilles. And I always feel bad when people get injured. But at the same time, it's whatever. And here's my thing. So and then I want to get right back off the NBA as fast as we're talking about it. By the way, I'm not going to drag this out, but he tore his Achilles tonight. Oh no, it was Game 7. Tyrese Halliburton tore his Achilles. He sat out the critical game 6, where if they lost, they were gone because he had a calf strain.
He tore his Achilles tonight in the game.
Yes, I think so.
I thought that was the injury that caused him to sit the first time.
No, he had a calf strain. So in the most critical game of the entire year, you're going to sit on the sideline with a calf strain?
That's why, though. He shouldn't have played tonight. I'm telling you, everything is a kinetic chain in the body. When your calf starts hurting and you force it, your Achilles is next. And they did that to him. Congrats.
Either way, when I see a graphic that says who is the most clutch player to ever play basketball, and it has Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and they put Tyrese Halliburton in there, it made me want to throw up. Get it out of here. You're done.
I'd come more putting Allen Iverson on there than Halliburton.
Dude, just get him out of here. That's crazy. It's crazy.
Stop talking about the NBA,
back to football, baby. Back
Nobody
to a real
cares.
sport. Back to a real sport.
I'd rather talk about hockey than the NBA half the time.
No, but for real. So the passing attack, huge focal point of the offense. And we know Andy's got back into that, saying they're going to push them and push them and push them, try to get the ball down the field. And he did the same thing last season. So we'll see if it can come to fruition this year. But, like, what's the point of that? Like, do you really think Andy is that backwards on logic that he thinks that you have to throw deep passes to open up a run game? Because, in my opinion, I feel like he could open up a lot of the field, by just having a guy that runs a go route every time, like an MVS used to. And on top of that, it's like just run the ball. Have a decent running game. Have a short passing game.
Adapting to what he has, Steve. I
got all these fast guys that freaking destroy people.
Well, I'm gonna play a little devil's advocate here, and I'm gonna say Andy is smart. Now, I do know Andy can outsmart himself. Boy, do we all know that. Go look back at his Eagles days. He did it there a few times.
Right.
But where are you stronger at, Steve? Are you stronger at the wide receiver in the tight end room, or are you stronger in the running back room? Even last year, he had 2, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire was the second one to go along with Carson Steele. Even go back to 2019, 2020 when we won there with Tyreek Hill and what was his name at running back? Damian
Williams.
Damian Williams. I don't know how I missed the last name Williams. Go figure.
Kind of weird, huh?
Go back to him, man. Damian Williams wasn't like this incredible can't miss running back. We just don't tend to have those kinds of guys. Like, we don't have the Saquon Barkley. We don't have the Brian Westbrook that he had. So I think he knows if he wants to rely on Pacheco to do this, it's a fail. Pacheco's not that guy. And so he knows he can't run the ball first. So I think he's trying to create run out of the pass. Who would you rather have the ball? Greatest player to ever play, Mahomes? And those wide receivers, who's a better room? Or would you rather Mahomes hand the ball off to Pacheco?
Totally get that. But, I mean, in order for Mahomes to, produce efficiently and to play at his top capabilities, you have to take some pressure off the pass rush, one way or another.
Like, I like Pop, Steve, but Pop's not in the same class as a Brian Westbrook or LaDainian Tomlinson or a Saquon. Like, Saquon Barkley led the league probably in rushing attempts last year. Like, why wouldn't he? He's the best back in football, and he had an insane all-pro offensive line he had working here. Like, they even had a guy at right guard that was supposed to be like a generational talent when he got drafted out of U of L. Like, it's insane how good they were. Mekhi Becton. It's insane how good that lineup was. Like, we can talk to her blue in the face over that, but that team was just stacked. And so
Chiefs are still winning that game 2 out of 3 times, even with that.
You still believe that? Do you remember before the game when you still believe that? Do you still believe that the Chiefs roster was better? Because remember when they had that whole thing and you were arguing on X with people, man, you were like, I think the Chiefs roster is better than the Eagles. But now you think the Eagles are stacked. So how did that compute?
Of course the Eagles were stacked. They were always stacked. I'm just saying the Chiefs were a better team. Like, the Chiefs know how to win close games. The Eagles lost worse games than the Chiefs did. I think that they were very, very equal in talent. As I was trying to say, like, they are a stacked Pro Bowl team, right? Like, we get it from end to end. They went out, they drafted well. You have to give them that. So they did team build well in-house, but they also went and signed
They
everybody
knew how to
under the
pick
sun.
apart the Georgia Bulldogs.
Right, and they also went out and signed everybody under the sun and refused to acknowledge that there's a cap in the salary, you know. Like, they don't have to go by that. But either way, I was just saying, talent-wise, in that team, I feel like the Chiefs are just good, and the Chiefs would have, I guarantee you, you play that game just a little bit differently, and it was a different day, and it's a totally different outcome, dude.
Right.
Totally different outcome.
Well, do you think the Chiefs, because I remember you were kind of going back and forth with somebody on X. I remember who it was. But you were kind of in the boat that you thought the Chiefs had better wide receivers than the Eagles. Like, you still believe that?
Not necessarily better, but I think it was a wash, right?
You thought it was even, but I thought that the Eagles just notched them a bit.
I mean, I can agree with that to an extent, just because A.J. Brown statistically is the best wide receiver in football.
They named him number one going into this year, right? PFF did.
Right, yeah. Statistically, he's the best wide receiver in football. And then behind him, you have Devontae Smith, who was also pretty good. Let's not get that twisted. But at the same time, like, look at who the Chiefs
They traded for Jahan Dotson as number 3 from a divisional rival. How do you even pull that off?
The Chiefs had Xavier Worthy coming on hot. They had Hollywood Brown back healthy. And then you had DeAndre Hopkins. And whose fault is it that they didn't utilize D-Hop? It's not his.
Right.
So, I mean, I think it was
I'm with you. If Rashee Rice would have been healthy for that Super Bowl, I think our receivers were better.
I think our receivers right now, they can go toe-to-toe with anybody in the league. I don't care who you want to throw up there. You
I
want to say
agree
the
with
Bengals
that.
with Jamar Chase.
I think it's a top 5 receiving core in the league as a trio.
Super excited about it. But yeah, the Chiefs would win that game 2 out of 3 times. I mean, you have to think, if they just would have went out, if things could have went just a little bit differently, sometimes things just don't go your way. And that day, they were not going the Chiefs' way.
Nothing went that way. Steve, did you get this one? 2-bomb?
Did not. Platinum OG in the house.
Platinum OG
baby.
says, "What's up, ACU? What's up, Mike and Steve? What's up, brother? Appreciate you being here,
man. I think he left us a 2-bomb on a video the other day too. Appreciate that. By the way.
Yeah, appreciate that, man. Yeah, anything helps. Love you guys. Appreciate y'all watching. Watch time. YouTube loves that, man. Throw on an old. If you missed a live, throw one on. Go to sleep to it. I don't care.
They really love when you watch
really
2 videos in a row. If you watch 2 all cheaped up videos in a row,
dude, you want to talk about getting
YouTube gets
up.
horned. Yeah,
2 videos. If you were to just watch 2 of our videos in a row, YouTube sends us a thank you letter in the mail, and they're like,
if you do 3,
we may become the president of Google or whatever. Like, I don't know. But yeah, it's crazy. We appreciate you guys. All the likes, the comments, everything for the algorithm's awesome. About Time says member for 15 months, anniversary time, and why they keep getting my months wrong, because YouTube are slap nuts and they screwed up the whole entire thing that one time.
So a lot of people are like, "Oh, we're really surprised that you guys don't have 100,000 subscribers yet and all this."
Dude,
and
we
like,
have Steve, we get that like once a week.
Yeah, it's true, and it's flattering. I get it. If like I appreciate the gas. And you telling us, hey, you have good content, you should have more subscribers. And I do appreciate that. But the fact of the matter is, you have to remember, we're behind the 8 ball when it comes to that, because YouTube literally demonetized our entire channel for an NFL season.
Yep.
We've only been doing this. This will be our 4th season coming up. So we've only had 2 out of the 3 seasons we've had this channel. We didn't even get to do much. Like, they were shadow banning the crap out of our channel. They would not let us make a dime.
Steve, because
from it.
we weren't
They
real.
stole thousands of dollars from us.
They said we were fake and we were AI, and now it's nothing but AI all over it. I think we should sue.
Which is insanity.
We maybe we ushered in the AI era.
Do you think that was really a fake us?
Could have been, man. We were brilliant, and we somehow made fake versions of ourselves that could interact in real time.
But the moral of the story is, I don't care. That's water under the bridge. But, I mean, yeah, we'd probably be a little better off if that hadn't happened, right? But we'll get there.
Yeah. A full season, man. That's probably at least, like 10K subs at the minimum?
Yeah. Our viewers, our members are, I'm just like our wide receiver core. I'll put them toe-to-toe with anybody's. I'm going to put ours with anybody's. Okay?
I agree.
So, yeah. Peter freaking Ortiz in the house, baby. The legend himself with a 20 bomb. Let's go, Peter. Peter, you're the man, brother. Hope you're doing well.
Peter asked why I was blue today. I seen it in the chat.
With his lighting a little bit.
I'm messing with my lighting.
He was trying to fix it right before we went live, by the way.
Yeah, I'm trying some new stuff. I'm trying to see what's
up. Hey, hurry up.
Steve's going red. I'm going blue today. We're doing like the opposite effect.
A little warm. Mike's
Steve's a little warm. I'm trying to convince myself that it's not so hot, so I'm like, I'm in a nice little Alaskan cave over here. Also, my shirt's blue, so that kind of just makes it look even crazier. So,
yeah. Shout out our girl Nikki here. She says, "Hey guys, highlight this post. If you're not getting notifications, just turn them off and turn them back on." Apparently, she was having fits with it. Turn them off, turn them back on, and now she gets her notifications. So
that could work. So look, everybody
you're
just go to the
having
top,
problems,
find your
give it a
subscribe
shot.
button, and do that really quick. Hey,
it's
worth
definitely
a
worth
shot.
a shot. And yeah, we'll be on for a while longer tonight. Appreciate y'all being here. We're trying a so I mean a lot of people, to viewers and things, have brought to our attention like a really set schedule would be great, which was really tough to do in the last couple of months with Mike having a natural disaster take over his home, being the off season with random news here, random news there. It was very, very difficult. But now we're starting to settle in, getting ready to go to camp, getting ready to have preseason. So we're going to get back in the swing of that. We have a nice little schedule laid out in front of us. So just for the foreseeable future, and hopefully for as long as we can get to the season, maybe we might change it. Not for sure. Live streams are going to be on Sunday nights.
So for
and
at least the
Thursday
rest of the
nights.
off season, yeah.
Yeah.
So you said live streams are when? Because that kind of
Sunday
cut you
nights.
off. I'm sorry.
Sunday nights and Thursday nights.
Gotcha. Sunday and
Right.
Thursday nights.
And then we're going to have a video schedule as well, too. So just, yeah, it'll be good.
A lot of people if you're on Spotify, if you're on Apple, if you listen to podcasts, like if you're at work, blah, 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 we do those all the time. Like, right? We've got our whole podcast section. Go over there, find it, review it. They love reviews.
Yeah, Spotify, Apple.
Go give us
whatever
5
you
stars
do.
over there. But we're getting back to doing some of that. And what we want to do, because people have asked for it, Steve, they want more of a podcast style video where me and you pick some subjects and just talk about the Chiefs uninterrupted. We're not showing clips. We're not showing highlights. We're not
editing it.
It's not like an edited video. It's not nothing. It's just different. It's just like, hey, we're watching a podcast and we can listen to this and it's just good info. So we're going to start doing that because we're recording those for Spotify coming up for the new season. So we're just going to do a video and we're going to put it on here on YouTube. And if that's your thing, start looking for those. I think we're going to start releasing those on Tuesdays, maybe.
Yeah, I think Tuesdays, which that'll be like a longer video for you guys too. If you guys,
so
just want to play it in the background
between
or whatever.
30 minutes and an hour.
It'll
We're just
probably
going
be
to
more
get
like
here and talk. It's
45
gonna
to
be
an
fun.
hour or so. That'll be pretty good length videos. Just something you can turn on and listen to. So yeah, a lot of different things coming your way. Just thought we'd throw that out there. But anyway, appreciate you guys for the likes, the comments, and all you guys are donating are freaking awesome. And speaking of, about time with the 5 bomb says blue chews,
go.
jergens, and tissues. Menage nasty up in here. Love the content, gents. About time it's Hornt. He's hit the Hornt limit.
Oh. He's
You would think the
gonna
Chiefs
show
just
up-
won the Super Bowl.
Look, you may, like, if you're turning on to watch the weather radar tonight, you may see a little blip in Mississippi, and that is about time. Just Hornt on the radar. The radar's picking it up, his energy.
Yeah. Man. Peter says, would you ever think about doing play-by-play? We've appreciate the 5 about time, by the way. I don't want to cut that short. But, yeah, I mean, we've talked about it a little bit. But, I mean, there's a couple different things to play to this. When we started this, we're fans first. Me and Mike are probably going to watch every game together with Pops. End of story. So that's pretty much going to be it. And another reason is, I mean, Cole, that's kind of his space, right? Like, which anything, if you type Chiefs into anything on the internet, it's Cole's space. But if you want to watch play-by-play, he's kind of got that on lock, and it's just kind of, it's not beneficial for us to do that. And plus, we just want to hang out and watch the game. We like to talk about the game after, get with you guys after the game,
Look,
celebrate
that would
with
be
you, cry with
something-
you, whatever.
Yeah, that would
But-
be something, Steve, that we would consider in the future, like down the road, and look, I've always said this, if the NFL is starting to team up with YouTube, if they would allow content creators to show the games
They're never
and
going to
have
do
live
that.
reactions,
They're never going to do that.
okay. So, but I'm just saying, if they ever did that
You
to
can't.
certain content creators,
Now, if they did it on the YouTube
and you could do
exclusive
that would
games,
be fun. That's what I'm trying to say.
Maybe. But there,
That would be
you
kind of
can't-
fun.
You couldn't do it on anything except for YouTube exclusives, which they don't have very many of. I don't
What
even
if
know
you
they have
look
one.
now again? If these people watch 3 videos in a row, we may be able to start working for Google. So here was my idea: what if you could do it as in you could have a live stream for a game that was completely not rewatchable? It had to be in the moment, and you had to like sell tickets to it that would essentially pay for the week of the YouTube stream?
I don't know. Mike's been thinking too
I'm
much
just
about
saying,
this.
just come up with some ideas here. Just spitballing.
Some more important stuff. Julia wants to know what kind of spoiled beverage you're going to drink this off season.
I don't know, man. Is there anything out? Like, did Chateau Milk drop anything new? Spoiled anybody?
They dropped some Chiefs tears after the Super Bowl for us.
They dropped the Chiefs tears. I posted that on something the other day, dude. And Chiefs fans don't like when you just take little nudges at our own team. Like they tell you you're not a fan.
I mean, if you can't make fun of yourself, what are you
Steve,
doing?
Did you see the video of Tom Brady like with the wrestling thing where he like rips the
Mike, I
Eli
saw
Manning jersey?
Probably enough seconds of it for my brain to like comprehend what was happening. I turned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wrote on X
cringy
that was the second most cringiest thing I've ever had to watch, and that first was the Chiefs' performance in the Super Bowl versus the Eagles.
Right.
And dude, Chiefs fans hated that.
I'm sorry, it's the truth.
Sorry.
If you would rather sit through that again than anything
I
else,
hate watching that again. I didn't even want to watch it when I'd done the Xavier Worthy highlights of his 5
Mike,
best
I didn't
catches.
want to watch it after the first half of the first quarter. We looked at each other and like, well, it's going to be one of these days.
We said, should we turn this off and do something?
Yeah. Kyle, been a member for 21 months, probably much longer than that. We just discussed how YouTube's a slap nut sometimes. But he says, okay, about time now. I feel like everyone has to clean their screen. Get
Clean
that
up.
glass cleaner out, baby. Get some isopropyl alcohol and some cotton swabs and clean your computer screen. Got to sanitize this bad boy.
It's like that South Park meme.
Yeah. Pepe says, if Kingsley fails at left guard, what about Wanya rather than Caliendo? So, yeah, I think it's kind of interesting. It's funny you brought this up because I think it's interesting that Wanya is just not included in this. But there was a point in time where the Chiefs thought Wanya was going to be our left tackle. And then now he's not even considered for guard. Like, what happened? Well, let's talk about the downfall of Wanya Morris.
Imagine how wild it was that at some point last year, Kingsley gets removed and Wanya goes in, and people were like, now we're on to something.
Yeah, dude. I
Dude,
just
that was
don't
a tough
understand.
time.
And I think, so we discussed this a little bit, and we don't know if there's any validity to it. It was all speculation. But there were a lot of people that were thinking that Wanya wasn't taking things seriously. Do you remember when he was really struggling at left tackle and he'd just be laughing on the sidelines while Patrick Mahomes
I remember
getting
that.
his ass beat?
It was somewhere right towards maybe the last few games of the year when Tooney actually got the nod there.
So is it just his capability? Like he's just not capable of doing it and he's not even on that level of a Kingsley?
Or do you think he acts juvenile?
Or do you think there's more to it? And I mean, he did get arrested. Not that this is correlation, but he got arrested for a drug charge, I think, and like all kinds of other stuff. Do you think it's more off the fieldy than on the field? What do you think? Do you think there could be something we don't know?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I feel like it's kind of an epic downfall, right? Like you were going to be left tackle, but then you got hurt, and then all of a sudden you never do anything ever again.
You've got guys on this team that became like the cream of the crop, right? Like you've got your McDuffies, and I'll put Karlaftis on that. I think that's fine, and I think Rashee Rice is probably there on the offensive side of the ball. Those are draft picks that hit, and the cream rose to the top. Okay, but then you've got those other guys. Now they've not been epic failures. I wouldn't put them in the Lucas Niang boat. Okay, but these guys, and look, I would say like him, as in Wanya Morris, the Josh Williams. People like that still have something to play for, because I don't think that their job is 100% guaranteed. Like they got to go out and prove it a little bit. I think Wanya's kind of
totally
in that
agree.
boat.
He's got to be in the mix, right?
I mean, I think Wanya's firmly on the roster as it sits right now, but he could go out and have a really horrible camp, and it wouldn't surprise me.
If left tackle and left guard pans out decently, right? Like let's say Josh Simmons wins that battle and he's as good as people think. And then Kingsley settles in at guard, and he's really good at it. That'd be great, right? Then all of a sudden you're looking at not only, hey, we fixed this problem we have, but now we have a lot of depth. Like you have to think, if your third choice at any position on the line was Wanya Morris, would you be that mad about that?
Well, I think Wanya right now is probably like tackle 4. Like he's swing tackle 2. I would say swing tackle 1 would probably be Jalen Moore if he loses the job to
right.
Josh
A lot of
Simmons.
people think there's a lot of steam, a lot of people talking about how Jalen Moore is essentially just going to take
Everybody thinks
Taylor's
Jawaan
position.
Taylor's losing that job. And I'm telling you, it would not surprise me if he don't work something out this year, especially if he looks a lot better.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Now, could it be he was signed for 2 years, right? Jalen Moore. This is the third year of Jawaan Taylor. Jawaan Taylor's contract has an out after this year.
Yeah.
So potentially you could see them go ahead and move on from Jawaan Taylor and just use Jalen Moore at right tackle in that second year of his contract. Absolutely.
But either way, you've got 4 good tackles, though. And I'm just trying to say Wanya is a good option as a swing tackle. But if he gets put in at left tackle, is that really a good option? We've seen what can happen. Yes, he can hold up for 20 and 30 play spurts at a time, but then he can have 10 plays where they just bulldoze this kid 10 plays in a row.
Do you think it's odd that with all the left tackle troubles that they had last year that you never saw them try to move Jawaan Taylor to the left side? Do you think that?
That's kind of odd because, I never thought of that. But when he first got here, they said
that's
he was
what
left
they said
tackle.
they were going to do. And here's the thing. Jawaan Taylor is a good offensive lineman. The only thing that he had problems with is penalties. Let's be honest. He had a couple
Maybe
down
Andy
games.
thought that would make stuff worse because then you take a above average right tackle to, I wouldn't even say he's above average to good. He may be not in that great elite category, but he's right
definitely
on the door.
He's definitely one of the top probably 5 to 10.
And especially when you take the mental mistakes out of it, right? You take that mental mistakes out of it. He's not bad at what he does. So if he was to put him at left tackle, then he's got to learn that. And then, but I mean, that would have allowed Tooney to stay at guard at least.
That's what I'm saying. I don't understand why they never gave that a shot. And
That's
I
a
agree with
wild
Julia.
idea.
He was unfairly targeted right at the beginning of his Chiefs career.
Yeah, that's
by Monday
tainted
Night
him
Football.
big time.
All those guys, it was ridiculous, right? And they just continued to throw penalty flags on him for the same things that everybody else does. I'm sorry.
Last
he
year
does
they stopped
nothing.
with that, though.
He
They
does
didn't throw him as many
nothing different.
times, right?
He don't do a damn thing different than Lane Johnson does on every snap of football. Nothing.
Right.
And that's the thing about it. So, yes, I get that. But I
For
thought
me,
that was
the
kind of weird.
unforgivable ones of him, though, are when we get in the red zone and he pulls that whatever. Like a cheap holding but sometimes they will call the false start once we get to the red zone, right? And there's
Casey,
nothing he can
give
do
me
about it.
5 right tackles that are outright better than Jawaan Taylor. Please. If you think he's barely top 15, that's a wild statement. I would be interested to know who you got.
I would say Jawaan Taylor is probably...
if you're talking about right tackle specific.
Let me just go look. I'll look off PFF, and we'll just go strictly by the numbers who they rate as the top right tackles in this league. Let's just see. They'll go strictly off numbers. And again, you could say, it's PFF, blah, 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 blah. But PFF grades everybody along the same guidelines. So let's see what they say. I would be curious.
As far as right tackle goes, what do you got? Tristan Wirfs, you got Penei Sewell, you got Lane Johnson, Jawaan Taylor, Michael, kid from, I can't say
What do
his
you want to
name,
look
from the
at? You want to
Patriots.
just look at blocking grades? You want to look at just pass blocking, just run blocking? Or you want to look
I
at
think
pass
overall.
blocking efficiency? Like there's your 4.
Is there like an overall?
That would be pass blocking grades or offensive pass blocking efficiency. Let's just do blocking grades.
Well, considering we don't run the ball much, let's go by pass, right? Let's just
I
go.
already clicked the wrong one, so we're just gonna go by this. Okay, so here's what they say. Let me see. So offensive grades, and I'm not for sure who's a right tackle and who's a left. You know what's wild is Zach Tom's rated so high, and I remember me and Pops absolutely loved Zach Tom out of Wake Forest.
Yeah, right tackle, man, like I just mentioned a bunch of them. You got like Titus Howard for Texans, Brian O'Neill from the Vikings, Spencer Brown's the Bills, Mike McGlinchey for the Broncos, Taylor Moton from the Panthers. There's not like huge big names over. You got Jack Conklin with the Browns. Joe Alt, I think, had been playing some right tackle with the Chargers. Paris Johnson had been playing right tackle with the Cardinals. Evan Neal with the Giants. There's some decent ones in there, but I just don't see how. I don't see Jawaan Taylor being that far from around the 5 area.
Out of every tackle in the league, so this isn't just. It's not just right tackles because it's not going right tackle versus left. Out of all tackles, Jawaan Taylor scores. Out of every tackle, he scores 21. That includes left tackles as well.
Right. Do me a favor, because I'm not trying to like spite what you're saying, Yuck Futu, but it is an interesting thing. Where's Andrew Wiley on that list? Because that's who we could have paid, but we moved on from Andrew Wiley, let him go to Washington, and then we signed Jawaan Taylor for all that money. So what's the difference between those?
Andrew Wiley was 26.
And Jawaan Taylor was 21.
and that's for pass blocking grades, like you said.
Okay. So they're pretty close. Like, that's not a huge
Now,
gap.
look, you wouldn't have paid as much money.
Right. So that could have been a better play, Yuck Futu, for sure.
That's something to consider. But I will say, is Tristan Wirfs a right or a left tackle?
Right. I think he's been playing right tackle.
Okay, Jordan Mailata, he's a right tackle, right? Because Lane Johnson's the left.
Do they have Lane playing left? Is that how that goes? I don't even
think
know with them
so.
two. I don't care.
But if that's the way it is, yeah, I think Lane's left. So Wirfs and Mailata, the two top pass blockers in the league are right tackles, which obviously right tackle should be a little higher than left because you're going to go against the least talented pass rusher.
Right.
You would
Lane
assume.
plays right tackle.
So Lane's right and Mailata's left.
Does Mailata even play tackle? I don't even know.
Yes.
Does he? Okay.
I could have swore Lane Johnson was their left tackle. Anyway.
That's how much we care about the Eagles.
Yeah, I don't really care that much. But I'm just trying to say that, so Jawaan Taylor would be 21, and all the guys in front of him would be, I'm assuming not all those guys are right tackles. So you're going to have tons of left tackles in there. So I would say he would at least be top 12. I don't know. It'd be tough. I really wish they would. Oh, I can do it over here. Look at that.
Mike figured it out.
No, look, they've got snap counts for right tackle. Jawaan Taylor led the entire NFL in snap count at right tackle. He played more snaps at his position.
Well, they went all the way to the Super Bowl, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Than any other right tackle in the league besides Lane Johnson. Lane Johnson, he played 100 more snaps than Lane Johnson. So at that, okay, so let's just compare him to Lane Johnson, for example. His pass blocking grade was a 69.5. Lane Johnson was an 88.7. Obviously, Lane Johnson's like the cream of the crop.
Right.
The run blocking is about the same, 57 to 85, and the overall offense is an 88 to a 60. So there is a big gap between Jawaan Taylor and Lane Johnson.
Right. But you know that. Lane Johnson's number one, right?
Andrew Wiley. Let's do Andrew Wiley across the board. Andrew Wiley played the 9th most snaps of any right tackle. He was just over 1,000.
One good thing about Jawaan Taylor and Lane Johnson, though, is Lane Johnson's like 7 or 8 years older than Jawaan Taylor. So
Andrew Wiley, the only thing he was worse than Jawaan Taylor was run blocking. That was it. But you got to remember, he also played 300 less snaps. So he had potential to mess that up a little bit more. But yeah, maybe that's something to consider. I mean, we've always said that Brett Veach overpaid Jawaan Tayller. I don't think he was worth what they paid him.
Did he though? Because I think what you
Don't
saw
say
there
did he.
was
Hey, that's derogatory.
I think what you saw happen there, and I 100% agree when it happened. We were like, dude, why? Like, that's crazy to pay that guy that much money to go play right tackle. But now, in hindsight, it's really not that crazy. Because if you start looking at what right tackles are getting paid now, if you want to talk about Lane Johnson, he's making $5 million more a year than Jawaan Taylor. Penei Sewell's making $8 million more. Tristan Wirfs is making over $8 million more. Dude, there's probably 5 more guys right under Jawaan Taylor that are making the same amount of money as him. So, I mean, if you can have the argument that Jawaan Taylor is a top 5, say, but somewhere between 5 and 10 at right tackle, then he should be making that much money.
I'll say, look,
by the market value.
He's somewhere, I don't think top 5. I'm going to say top 10.
That's what I said, Steve, somewhere between 5 and 10.
Andrew Wiley was just as good across the board. And he has a 3-year, $24 million contract. He's 1/4 of his contract. And you could have got better across the board.
So here's the thing. Is Andrew Wiley underpaid? Because I would argue that.
Maybe so, but you mean to tell me he would have took that same contract with the Chiefs? But
I
think Chiefs Kingdom would have ran Brett Veach out of town if they had re-signed Andrew Wiley.
Potentially, but now they wouldn't. You know, in hindsight, they're like,
hindsight's
Wiley.
always 2020.
Well, here's the thing, though. With Andrew Wiley, I think he's just severely underpaid, Mike. You got guys on the rookie contracts. Joe Alt, Paris Johnson. I think Evan Neal's still on his rookie contract. They're all making more money than him. Like, guys on the rookie contracts are making more money
Wiley
than him.
is even such a team dude that on March 20th of this offseason, he restructured to take a pay cut in 2025. He's underpaid, Steve, and he's taking a pay cut. He reduced his compensation by $3.75 million. I think the Chiefs may have blundered there by getting rid of Wiley and paying so much money to Jawaan Taylor.
Potentially, but I think
may be a
this
big
went back to
blunder.
what I mentioned earlier and what Julia even brought up in the chat was there was a time where they thought that Jawaan Taylor was going to be a left tackle conversion.
Hey,
They thought they thought that's what they were going to do.
That's a huge miss. He'd have never survived at left tackle.
I think they realized that, right? And then another thing was that like this year they signed Jalen Moore, but then they drafted Josh Simmons. So it's kind of like you're throwing two things at the wall and seeing which one sticks. I think that's kind of what it was with Jawaan Taylor. It's like, let's sign this guy. If we have to, we can try to convert him to left tackle, but if we don't, we don't. And then
I think what we've realized is that Brett Veach, and maybe rightfully so, if you look at the Chiefs for the last 20, 30 years, since I've ever started watching the Chiefs, anytime they throw big money at a free agent in the offseason, they suck. Every time.
I do feel like that happens, yeah.
They're better off of building through the draft. And look at every player they've got on this team that's a foundation. Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, Patrick Mahomes, Trent McDuffie, anybody and everybody that is making them what they are today is a draft pick. Nothing they've went and picked up. Look at Charles Omenihu. He was a guy they got for a decent price in the offseason. He struggled. Like anybody they pick up and pay money. So you can just about expect Christian Fulton's going to suck ass this year. Like he's going to have that Chief curse.
Let's hope not.
I hope not too. But dude,
Pretty
every
excited about
guy
that,
we ever send big money to in the offseason always just never pans out. Look at the linebacker Brett Veach paid.
Yeah.
The first few years he was here.
FoodTube said, why didn't we bring Donovan Smith back last year? I think Donovan Smith, I mean, let's be honest here. When he did play, he was serviceable.
He was
but
pretty mid as well.
He let up a lot of
but
pressures.
you're not the first one to say that, and everybody did say that a lot last year. I wish the Chiefs would have done it just to, if nothing more, just to prove the point, because it's always going to be a what-if scenario at this point.
I would be willing to say I think Joe Tooney's a better left tackle.
There you go, Anthony. Anthony Hitchens. Appreciate you, Yuck Food Tube. Yeah, Anthony Hitchens.
Yeah,
dude, we paid
Anthony
him
Hitchens.
a monstrous contract.
That was a
stunk.
huge miss. That was a huge
Dude,
miss.
Brett Veach has stunk giving big contracts in the offseason. So I'm glad he's not doing that anymore.
Yeah. Well, speaking of some of this stuff, Pepe says, what's the weakest link in the Chiefs roster right now? The whole team, what's the weakest link?
Ooh, that is a great question. It's not quarterback. I think we can all settle on that.
It's not QB. It's not
I don't think it's wide receiver.
It's not tight end. Honestly, it would have to be the left side of the offensive line. It has to be until we see otherwise. Right?
Yeah, I don't think it's linebacker. It's not corner, in my opinion. Safety could be arguable, especially if Jaden Hicks.
Ray said Sky Moore.
Yeah. A safety could be arguable. Let's say Jaden Hicks actually. I know everybody's saying Jaden Hicks is going to be awesome. I still believe he's going to be good. But what if Jaden Hicks doesn't have that big breakout this year and he does struggle in year two? Mm-hmm. Then you've got Mike Edwards and Brian Cook, and nobody's really been enamored with Brian Cook last season off that injury. So maybe, and Mike Edwards is getting a little older. Maybe safety could be kind of a weak spot. I think the defensive line got better, but defensive line's still susceptible to suck. If Felix don't turn it on, if Omenihu don't have a better season.
If they miss on both draft picks.
Let's just say Gelati and Norman Lott don't really produce like we thought they were going to do right off the bat. Chris Jones keeps getting double and triple teamed, and now you don't got Turk Wharton to fall back on. Your big run stuffer guy, Mike Pennell, he's getting old. So just what happens if that just falls apart? You seen what happened last year when George Karlaftis struggled early in the year.
I still like the chances of that being taken care of more than the left side of the offensive line. I still think that's the biggest question mark on this team.
I will say this: if Josh Simmons is healthy and he gets a full camp in and he's ready
I'm
to
gonna
go
feel
week
good
one,
about it.
Josh Simmons can do the job. At least I think so. Could be wrong, but I'm going to feel way better about it with him than I was with Kingsley last year.
Let's just say this: if Josh Simmons if he's fully healthy and he's not good, it's going to be one of those weird things where he just was dominant in college, had the best tape of any left tackle. Honestly, if you take out all the injury stuff, he would have went way higher in the draft. I think it would just be weird if he wasn't good.
Right. Steve James Winters here says, I thought Darian Kinnard was going to be a beast. Boy, you and me both, because he kind of had that. Steve, you actually said the Chiefs were going to draft him. You hit that pick. We liked Kinnard coming out of UK. We watch UK football. I'm sorry I had to admit that on in front of everybody and Jesus and everybody. But we watch UK football, and there's not much to watch. But Darian Kinnard was a guy that was one of the bright spots on that crappy team every year.
I don't see. Here's another thing, and I could be wrong. Obviously, I don't work for an NFL team, and they're smarter than me, right? They know this.
Oh
and that.
yeah.
But to me, it's funny that we have to preface that every time we make a statement. But
Yeah, because people will rage.
I really think that they mismanaged some of the guys that we got. You can't convince
He was a
me.
miss.
You can't
He was a
convince me
mismanage.
that Darian Kinnard couldn't have been a nasty freaking guard for us. There's
Right, he could
no
have
way
been,
around it.
He could have been the left guard that Caliendo wasn't last year.
Darian Kinnard plays very, very, very similar to Trey Smith.
He's violent.
He played that as a right tackle in college. He was just a tree trunk lower half, stupid power, nasty, throwing people down. You know, you see Trey Smith do those things all season long. Just absolutely dominate guys.
But the
and
Chiefs
really
didn't
rub
want
it
to
in.
get rid of him. He was on the practice squad and he got poached. He decided to go to the Eagles. He wanted a chance to play. But do you think it was a miss by the Chiefs not just putting him on the roster so people couldn't do that? You could have totally
he
had
didn't
him
really
on the roster,
contribute
Steve.
because we just talked about they had the number one offensive line in football, so it's not like he was really going to get out there and contribute right away, right? But I do think that what happened in the position we got in, I think it would be great to have a guy like Darian Kinnard that could have been fighting for
Wouldn't
that
it have
guard
made
position.
sense to put Kinnard on the roster last season and to have not taken a guy like Cole Christensen? Wasn't he the random? They took like Cole Christensen or somebody, and they took Malik Herring randomly.
I know Andy Reid likes Mike Caliendo, and I know Mike Caliendo did a damn good job to come in and just have to. This is a UDFA we're talking about here. He got stuck into it, and he actually did a damn good job. Got all the way to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I agree.
But do you really think that Darian Kinnard would be a worse guard than Mike Caliendo? Because I don't see it. I think with the proper preparation and them actually using him as such, I think he could have been more than that.
I think he was nasty. And it looks like we may have needed him. But look, they chose to keep UDFA Ethan Driscoll last year at tackle that never saw the field. They chose to keep him on the roster.
We got a lot of guys this year that can do that. I see where Julia actually said she likes Driscoll in the chat now that you mentioned him. But also you have Dalton Cooper this season. You have Asa Pole. You have so many different offensive linemen now that, could just be underrated guys.
What in the hell?
Pepe, that's West Virginia. That's not Kentucky. Well, it's half of Kentucky. We're on the west.
And also, to watch UK football, you may have to be crazy enough to cook.
Yeah.
Look, I don't dislike Ethan Driscoll. He's got that bit. He's athletic. He was huge. I want to say he's like 6'7", 6'8". He's a monster. He showed that athleticism, Steve. Wasn't he the one that got out and finally blocked one for Deneric Prince when Deneric Prince finally made a good play versus the Lions in the preseason? I think that was the game where they did the behind-the-back pass, Kelce and Mahomes. But Driscoll, look, with all of our tackle problems last year, the Chiefs never once put Driscoll on the field when it counted.
Right.
So why keep him? Why keep him? All offseason long, we've never once heard Driscoll be rumored to be anything near a top 4 tackle. He's probably getting cut this year. And at the end of the day, you lost a chance on a guy like Darian Kinnard because you put him on the practice squad. He got poached.
Can we talk about the
maybe that was a
low-key
miss there.
pipeline of football players from Kentucky going to the Chiefs? Can we talk about that for a second?
What do you got?
First of all, we're probably the main player in that pipeline from.
Oh,
from
yeah.
Kentucky to Kansas City.
We created the UK pipeline.
But let's think about this for a second. Mike Edwards. You were talking about Darian.
We brought
Kinnard.
Mike Edwards in.
You
We
had
influenced that.
Lonnie Johnson and Kelvin Joseph. They gave them both shots. You had Khalif Hallisey
And
here
they
that
both
should have made the team from Western. Jason Dunn himself was from EKU. He lived.
That was way before our time. We had nothing to do
still.
with that one.
Shh. Hear me out.
Yeah.
There's just been a lot. Ashton Gelati played at Louisville.
Yeah.
There's a lot. Easton Driscoll went to high school.
Ethan Driscoll. Yeah, he went
There's
to
a
high
lot.
school, probably about 20 miles up the road from me.
Yeah, man. So there's a little pipeline going there. I feel like that's a thing.
There's a pipeline. No, we got Bailey Zappi went to Western.
Yeah, Bailey Zappi. There's quite a few, man. Oh, there's
Isaiah
another.
Pacheco
Isn't there,
once drove through Kentucky on his way to New Jersey.
seriously though, isn't there another Western Kentucky guy that they signed?
Yeah, Elijah Young, running back.
Yeah. So I mean, there's definitely something there. I feel like they get a lot more Kentucky products than a lot of other teams do. So. Yeah. Anyway, just thought I'd bring that up. Appreciate you guys being here. By the way, we're gonna be here for like a few more minutes. If you have any questions, get them in the chat. Do us a favor, hit the like button, all that good stuff. Share it out with a friend.
I'm gonna check how many likes, and then I'm gonna rage. We're at 87. Everybody, go hit the like button right now. Go hit it. If you already hit it, unclick it and click it back.
What? Why?
Just to make sure that you clicked it good enough. And we're gonna get to 100 likes in the next 2 minutes.
I'm gonna say we can get to 120. I'm gonna say we can get to 120.
Sam said we've created a lot of pipeline of players that don't play. That is true. But Mike Edwards played.
Yeah. Yeah.
Khalif Hallisey should have made this team. That
Absolutely.
was another miss.
That would have been
Khalif
huge.
Hallisey, Steve, Khalif Hallisey and Darian Kinnard should have made the team last year over at least like who?
Look, man, I ain't trying to talk trash.
But
I ain't trying to talk trash on Najee Johnson. I'm not trying to talk trash on him. But Khalif Hallisey was a better corner than Najee Johnson.
Yes, I believe so. I just feel like Najee's a little undersized, and it's going to hurt him.
Hallisey was that guy. He was that legit.
Can we talk about Najee? Let's talk about the corners for just a second. Now that everybody's hitting the like button, let me go check it again. I'm checking one more time. We're already over 100. Look, it's all it took. Look, you guys are just freaking awesome. You see how that worked?
Yeah,
Love everybody here for hitting the like button.
The legend himself, Peter Ortiz, gifted 5 memberships. He said, you know what? You get a gift.
Let's go.
Let's go, baby. Appreciate it.
Round of applause for everybody. Look, if you're at home right now, just give yourself a round of applause. Your family's going to think you're stupid. Don't matter.
Everybody do it. Let's go.
I love it. Daggone. Steve, look, we've had a great... Look, this is what our Tuesday episodes are going to be like. Just me and you having a battle, just off the cuff, just talking
about whatever. It's
football,
probably going to be a lot crazier than this.
Yeah, because we're going to probably say some just wild stuff.
Yeah. By the way, though, Peter gifting out the memberships and everything. If you guys are not a member and you didn't get one of those, go to join.allchievedup.com or hit the join button if you actually have one of those on your screen and become a member. It's $4.99 a month. Just subscribe. It's $5 a month. You can't even get a bag of chips for that, you know?
Steve, we are getting ready to put out a series of episodes.
That's what I was getting ready to say.
Awesome.
We already got the first one locked and loaded, ready to go. I'm just deciding. I think the reason why I haven't released it yet is because we want a few in the tank. So we're trying to get a couple saved up. But now,
we've got 2 recorded.
Yeah, I got 1 to fix up. I got 1 done completely already. But what we're doing is every time we have a guest on the show, and you guys saw us with Garrick Dieter and Price Carter so far, we've got a lot more lined up to go. But we're doing a little special series just for members only, where we're going to release a video where we're doing kind of a game with those guys. It's just kind of a fun little thing where you learn a little bit about them, and it's just like lighthearted, fun content. And I think that you guys will like it. So be on the lookout for that. And if you're not a member, you should strongly consider subscribing. Is that what it's called? Yeah, do that.
Subscribe.
Not subscribing to the channel, but getting a subscription to be a member. There we go. Jeez. Is that what it's called when you pay monthly?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, and then David Howe mentioned Patreon. Patreon's getting ready to get hit again, so we're going to get back in the swing of Patreon. And all extra stuff we're going to try our hardest to do. It's just things have been difficult the past couple months, but things are settling. And we're getting into the swing, so...
Well, it's hard to kind of do content for like Patreon and stuff in the off season because I guess you could do draft stuff, but people get tired of that pretty quick. I guess we could have used it, Steve, to be more like personal, but I think people would have like not really liked me and you just being dumb and talking about just random stuff. They'd have probably been like, these guys are idiots. Get back to football. Yeah,
I pay for a subscription to the gym. I pay for a subscription to a car wash that I barely use. That's $50-some a month. I could have 10 memberships.
Dude,
you
and me both. I just realized today I've been paying for a gym membership that I've not stepped into for a year. I've lost $400.
Oh, mine's probably worse.
And it takes.
Do you remember how long ago it was?
It.
Let's put this into perspective here. Do you remember how long ago it was when I broke my ankle?
Yeah, that's been like 2 years.
It's the last
maybe.
time I stepped foot in that gym, and I've been paying ever since, buddy.
Bro, you could have bought a gym.
But you know what? I don't feel bad because I feel like that's probably the most unused subscription that people have. I can't be the only one out there. Peter Ortiz, he wants to know, Mike, who's your best DL and DB players?
On the Chiefs, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
I mean,
We don't
the
care about the
easy
money.
answer is McDuffie and Chris Jones, but I think he means the new guys, right? Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Let's
Who's
talk
gonna-
about the news. The noobs. Okay, look, I'm a little excited. A lot of I love Ashton Gelati, but I'm excited to see what Omar Norman Light's going to bring. And again, I think there's a little bit of uncertainty here. You heard Price talk about this. When he was at Tennessee, they did this, and I brought this up too. They did this hockey-style rotational thing to where they would shuffle in 4 and take out 4, and they would do it over and over. So a lot of people said, hey, he didn't play enough snaps. We don't know what he's like versus the run. I've watched some decent film of him being able to stop the run, but I don't think that's what he was drafted for. They drafted Keandre Colburn to stop the run. They drafted Derek Nottie to stop the run, and those guys stunk. Derek Nottie's never lived up to his hype, and
not really.
and Colburn didn't even get through a full season. He ended up with
He didn't
the
even get
frickin'
to the
Broncos.
season.
Right. So yeah, he got cut.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing about it is like I'm excited to see what they do because he was here to replace Turk. That's what he's here to do. So I'm excited to see what Omar Norman brings, Steve, because that kid has a 20+% pass rush win rate at Tennessee when he was out there. He's super fast off the ball. He can create problems. They've been saying in camp he's been disrupting everything. And Mahomes is even like giving him like rounds of applause because he's like tipping balls and stuff. I'm so excited to see him. So he's going to be like a favorite for me to watch this year. And then in the secondary, we'll move back to there. I hope Christian Fulton's going to be decent. I think Josh Williams is pretty close to getting cut because the team loves Najee Johnson. Look, I don't hate Najee Johnson. I like Najee Johnson as a person, but he showed us in crunch time last year that he got burned when he
He's
got
a great
picked on.
special teamer, elite
Now, look,
special teamer.
He's got to get a little better at that. But I think that the team likes and trusts him over Josh Williams for some strange reason. We'll never know.
Something going on there.
Jalen Watson's good. Christian Fulton and Trent McDuffie. When I'm watching all the young guys they brought in, though, I really like Melvin Smith. I think he's a dark horse to make the team, Steve.
Absolutely.
The kid
well, you
that
want to talk
you
about
thought they were
defensive
gonna draft.
tackles too, Keziah Azard, another UDFA. But Melvin Smith, dude, he could be a little dark horse.
And you
there.
talked about this in the video the other day. Another guy that randomly made the team last year. Who randomly makes the team? Malik Herring. We were like, what? It was one of the linebackers. Was it Cochran or was it Cole Christensen? One of those two guys randomly made the team and made like
Cochran.
the 5th linebacker.
Pretty sure.
And we were like, why'd they take a 5th linebacker? Then they kept Ethan Driscoll out of the blue. We were like, what? Christian Roland Wallace makes the team last year out of the blue as a UDFA.
He's
That's
got a
4
tough
guys.
road to make it again this year.
All 4 of those guys can be cut this year.
Yeah.
Because that's how good this new UDFA class is, this new draft class is. So, look, Melvin Smith has a chance to make this team over a Christian Roland Wallace, even
Fast.
though
He's
CRW plays the slot predominantly and can play safety. So he does have that going for him, but there's a lot of good corners back there, Steve, because I actually like Jacoby Covington, the kid out of
there's
USC.
A lot of good ones. And the dude from, why is his name escaping me right now?
What are you thinking of?
Miller? No.
Oh, Glendon Miller.
Glendon Miller.
That kid can
guy's a
flat out
monster.
play.
That guy's a monster. Yeah. Nikki says it's Kinnard not making the team a lack of O-line coaching. I
great
can't say
question.
that for sure, but I think that there is something to that conversation. A lot of people have been saying that we don't develop O-line the way that we should. There's been a lot. Brian Parrott, guy watches all of our videos. He literally will comment every video about how he don't like Andy Heck because he thinks that he's not developing guys on the offensive line. So it's definitely a conversation to be had because
Steve,
there
if
have been
Josh
a
Simmons
lot of
doesn't
misses.
pan out this year and Kingsley can't outright win this job and be effective,
It's one
does
of two
Andy
things,
Heck get
right?
fired?
You have to consider it. It's one of two things. Either they cannot scout for shit, or
Yeah.
he's not bringing them up to
They
par.
can't scout or they can't develop. Which one is it? Because
So
it could be
that's
both.
the conversation you're going to have.
I totally agree. And Nikki, that's a good question. And we've talked about that before. Andy Heck, in my opinion, from everything I hear about Andy Heck, they love him. He's a good coach. You know, Andy Heck gave up the most sacks in one game when he played. And it was versus our own Derek Thomas, baby. He played for the Seahawks, and Derek Thomas ate his lunch all day long and still holds the record to this day. I don't know if Andy Heck might be the best guy in a Chiefs uniform. You know, like maybe we need to move on from that at some point. Like, because like you said, Steve, either they're missing on the scouting end or you're not developing them.
Yeah, that's one of the two. Peter says he's really worried about the run defense. Here's something that I would bring to your attention, Peter. I'm not super worried about the run defense. And the reason why I'm not is, the only kind of big-time run defender you have at defensive tackle right now is probably Mike Pennell. That's it. But I think the way the Chiefs scheme is designed and the way Spags coordinates things, I think that our run defense really lies heavily in our linebackers and corners. Like, I feel
to Peter's point, though, Steve, Justin Reid was really good at that. He's not here no more. He was an extra box defender that was really good at that. I
think that, Mike Edwards can do a little bit of that, and I think Brian Cook's he can do a little bit of that. He's got to get better. But we definitely have some guys that can defend the run. When you start talking about linebackers, Nick Bolton, Leo Chanel, I mean, Drew Tranquil's not terrible. Let's not get that twisted. I mean, we got really good linebackers. I think
Moss is not bad with it either.
Of course, you don't want them getting to the second level. That's obvious. But at the same time, like, I do think what we have, Mike Pennell can't play every snap, obviously. And then you got Omar Norman-Lott's got to come. He's got to do something with run defense. He can't be just a pass rusher like he was in Tennessee. He's going to have to contribute a little bit that way too. Chris Jones does. Chris Jones is a good run defender, and he's a pass rush guy.
Let me go see what.
I don't know. I wouldn't like throw up like hit the panic button or anything, but I think I see where you're coming from. But I'm not like super worried.
Let me go see what Tershawn Wharton did on the run defense last year. Like, what did he actually do contribute to run defense? Let me see. Defense. Sorry, let's take a look. Run defense. He graded out at a 48.3. So
Turk, he's not that guy either, right?
Turk's highest run grade defense was in year 3, 2022. He had a 51.5.
Go look at Derek Nottie, though, or somebody that we've been using for that position.
Right. Last season, he only had, good night, it don't even register. He only had 21 tackles, and I'm assuming if you take off the 9 sacks, that means he only had 12? He had 12 tackles.
Well, like Casey Kidd said that Wharton got pushed around. That's true. That's what going to happen in the run game with a small defensive tackle like that.
Yeah, Wharton's 280.
There's some exceptions. Like you had Aaron Donald and some guys like that were undersized that don't get pushed around. But I think,
dude, let me tell you something, though.
It's not the same
Omar Norman-Lott
player
is not
either.
280. Omar Norman-Lott's 315. That's a big boy.
Bigger than people think?
He's huge. He's 315. And the thing about Omar Norman-Lott is he plays like he's 280. I'm telling you, Omar Norman-Lott can be special. A lot of people are overlooking this kid, and he's got that chip on his shoulder. He's got that drive to be good. That's a guy that people could very much overlook. And look, if he sucks, I'll sit here now and admit it, because I fought and banged the table for Omar Norman-Lott half the offseason, did I not?
Yeah, you did. You did.
And I was excited when we drafted him. And if I'm wrong, I'll admit I'm wrong. But I think this kid's going to be special. Now, he may not do it in his first year. It took Turk Wharton 4 freaking years, and of course he was injured one of them.
Yeah.
But if he stays healthy, this kid within 2 to 3 years is going to be a force, in my opinion. Now, I could be totally wrong, and you can put it on a T-shirt, I guess. But
anyway, we'll see. I'm feeling really good about this rookie class. Like, however it pans out, I feel good about it. And I think that a lot of them have a lot to offer the Chiefs, man. I think it's going to be fun. Appreciate you guys being here. Do us a favor. Hit that like button on the way out.
I've got a T-shirt design, Steve.
Oh, God. You love
Omar Norman-Lott on the front. Front.
Mike doesn't like to leave you guys. Have you noticed? If he thinks I'm going to end the show,
Steve,
he always cuts me off.
That's not what it is. Your shirt right now, you see the skull for the
Crimson
Misfits.
Ghost? Yeah,
the Crimson Ghost. That's going to be Omar Omar Normanlet's face.
With
and on
the
the
black
back,
paint.
it's going to say whole lot -A. Whole lot of love. Huh? I like it. It's got a little Led Zeppelin. We're going to get the lead out. Get the lead out of his ass and rush the quarterback. Let's go. Maybe that's what it says on the front.
Maybe. But yeah, appreciate you guys. Thank you for the likes, comments, donations. Donations are awesome. You guys that donated memberships like Peter, you guys freaking rule. Be on the lookout for a lot more content, man. Going to have pretty much set schedule going for the continuing all throughout the off season. So we'll if we have to, we'll type it out for you. But I think you can figure it out. Just be on the lookout for all the content, and we'll see you next time.
Stay horned.
I just want to see how long you'll sit there.
A lot. I would have been for
Get wild.